Okay, Jai Shri Krishna, everyone. So today is chapter 2, verse 20. We'll continue. Sunil Prabhuji.
Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavati va na bhuya ajo nitya shashvato ayam purano na haniyate haniyamane sharire.
Tejbhai, do you do the English?
Yeah. The soul is neither born nor does it ever die, nor having once existed does it ever cease to be. The soul is without birth, eternal, immortal, and ageless. It is not destroyed when the body is destroyed.
Okay. So we are actually in sort of starting the core of the Sankhya Yoga, and Sankhya means the eternal knowledge, which means the self, the knowledge for the self-realization, which is to understand who we actually are, which is eventually to understand like what Atma or soul is about. So just the recap for the last shlok. The last shlok, which is shlok 19, said that जो इस आत्मा को मारने वाला समझता है और जो इस को मरा समझता है वो दोनों ही नहीं जानते, क्योंकि यह आत्मा ना तो मरता है और ना मारा जाता है. That is the last shlok. So we keep on talking about Atma, which cannot be destroyed. Now in the same, in the verse 20, the similar sort of thing is said. The translation goes as, यह आत्मा किसी काल में भी ना जन्मता है और ना मरता है, और ना यह एक बार होकर फिर अभाव रूप होने वाला है. यह आत्मा अजन्मा, नित्य, शाश्वत और पुरातन है. शरीर के नाश होने पर भी इसका नाश नहीं होता. द कमेंट्री गोज एज, इस श्लोक में बताया गया है कि शरीर में होने वाले समस्त विकारों से आत्मा परे है. जन्म, अस्तित्व, वृद्धि, विकार, क्षय और नाश, ये 6 प्रकार के परिवर्तन शरीर में होते हैं, जिसके कारण जीव को कष्ट भोगना पड़ता है. एक मार्ग शरीर के लिए इन समस्त दुखों के कारणों का आत्मा के लिए निषेध किया गया है. अर्थात आत्मा इन सब विकारों से सर्वथा मुक्त है. शरीर के समान आत्मा का जन्म नहीं होता, क्योंकि वह तो सर्वदा है. तरंगों की उत्पत्ति होती है और उनका नाश होता है, परंतु उनके साथ ना होने से समुद्र की उत्पत्ति होती है, ना ही नाश. जिसका आदि है उसी का अंत भी होता है. उत्ताल तरंगे ही मृत्यु की अंतिम श्वास लेती हैं. सर्वदा विद्यमान आत्मा के जन्म और नाश का प्रश्न नहीं उठता. अतः यहाँ कहा गया है कि आत्मा अज और नित्य है. आत्मा में क्रिया के कर्तव्य और विषयत्व का निषेध तथा उसके बाद तर्क के द्वारा आविष्कार तत्व को सिद्ध करने के लिए भगवान इस विषय पर उपसंहार करते हुए कहते हैं, जो कि हम नेक्स्ट श्लोक में बताएंगे. So in short, like in this shloka, it is said that just going back a minute, that how do you realize what Atma is? Electricity, it can light a bulb, it can light a TV, it can light any PC or Xbox or whatever. But you can't see actually electricity is the Chetna Sarup, and that doesn't die. Here they give an example about water in a sea. So the waves can come and go because something which starts has to die. But the water in the sea itself is ever pervading. It never dies. And that's what Atma is about. So just to add on to this is the core purpose of the spirituality and self-realization, that what is Atma and and how do we relate to Atma and who we actually are. Because we keep on attaching ourselves to the mere things which are perishable, in short. Instead, we should be looking for much, higher self for ours, which is Atma. And again, just to add on to this, what spirituality focuses on is Atma se Paramatma ka milan. That's it's all about, in short. That once we first of all realize who we are, then we know that why we came into this world for, and eventually what is our purpose, which is the moksha ultimately. Ki is Atma ka kaise Paramatma se milan ho, so that we get the salvation and we don't come back into this world which is full of pain. And as said also in the shloka, that it's the body, when you take uh, birth, has to go to various phases: janma, stitva, vriddhi, vikar, shay, or nash. These are 6 type of changes which a body goes to, starting from all the way from birth all the way to the death. And it's only the body, as again it's talking about this picture here. As you see, it's the body, and 6 different types. Of course, there are more levels they have shown in the picture, but primarily there are 6 different types of changes that goes to. But the soul, as you see here, remains the same. It doesn't changes, and it's not the property for Atma to change. As you see, it is immortal and exactly stays the same. So that's pretty much is the crux of verse 20. Should we just go around the clock? Someone have to say something. Gitesh bhai, do you want to add on?
Yeah, I think it's very clear what they are trying to say here, which is like कि आपका जो मेन पर्पस है इस जीवन में आने का इज लाइक टू गेट द मोक्ष एंड if you are coming in this world, then you're gonna go through the pain, and to lessen the pain what you can do is you detach yourself with all this materialistic thing and focus only on your soul, like what your ultimate goal is to make your soul to get moksha. So if you know that, because I think most of the people doesn't know these things, like they
Oh yeah,
just think, okay, we born, we enjoy life and we're gonna die, but nobody knows like why we are you know getting birth again and again.
yeah.
So as we have seen in previous slokas, like we have to actually we are getting birth again and again because wo, what the word you said, prarad.
Prarabdh.
Yes, prarab.
Yeah.
You haven't balance your prarabdha. There is still a lot of negative left. That's why you are taking birth again and again. And each birth is giving you the opportunity to balance that prarabdha so that you can attain the moksha. So this is what they are just trying to tell. Like, don't just uh, get yourself down in all this materialistic thing. Just think about the soul to attain the moksha, basically. I think that's what it is trying to say. So basically detach yourself from all this materialistic thing.
Very good. Thank you, Gitesh bhai. That's as you see here, right? Like this link is there,
Mhm.
coming from the past and going in the future. Purpose of the moksha is actually to break this link.
Yeah.
So you, as in person, you don't get involved into the life cycle of which is full of pain eventually. Thank you, Gidesh bhai.
बेसिकली बर्थ ले रहे हो वही एक आपका बोल सकते हैं पनिशमेंट है, isn't it?
Exactly. As my dad always used to say, because we are ignorant, that's why we take birth. अज्ञान से ही जन्म होता है. जिसको ज्ञान हो जाता है वो मोक्ष को प्राप्त हो जाता है. And this is what Gita, as you said, right, this is what it teaches us, that once you have the real knowledge why you're here and what type of deeds you have to do, so you actually get the salvation and you don't get into the this life cycle of life and death eventually. So in short, just to add on one thing, this made me realize also one thing, that look, forget the deeper concepts of spirituality. In short, in life, right, all of us, we just want to be happy. So
Yes.
primarily there are few purposes we have. One is we want to be happy somehow, and second is if we are in pain, then we need something as a pain relief. Easy. Like we want, because people do go through pain, things happen and you can't control life, right? There are things happen, but we always need something to relieve ourselves from pain. And this is where Gita straight up steps in. Like as you see in chapter 1, Arjun Nishad Yoga, he was suffering badly. He was suffering badly from mental illness, and he did needed some type of relief. And Gita actually has proven to be that type of relief for him, to give him the knowledge, to open his eyes and actually relieve him from the pain primarily. So pain has a very strong, alignment. If you are in short, as said in this shloka's commentary, that if you are in this life, pain is inevitable. You have to have pain. You will get it pain. And that's the reason why you want to attain moksha, so that, you don't come back to this painful life. And of course, the knowledge of Gita will help you in relieving of the pain, in short, once so very well said. Thank you, Gitesh bhai. Sunil Prabhuji, do you want to add on something to it?
Hari Bol. No, actually, here it is clearly made the difference between soul and sharir. And as you mentioned, Jadma, Mrityu, and Avinash, they are nischit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct, Prabhuji. Yes. So they are, they are defined for the body, not for the soul.
Yeah.
Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. So, and these are the subjects for the body itself, not for the soul. So this is what I think Lord Krishna is trying to explain to Arjuna, that, you are crying, you're weeping out that you're going to kill your own brothers, kill your own cousins, your in-laws, and your relatives. That's not the case. It's just the body. You're not subject to killing anyone, as said in the last shloka as well, that neither does soul get killed, neither it has subject to kill anyone. So focus there, focus the real thing for you. It's just the body, and that's not you. So that's what he's trying to sort of explain upon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sunil Prabhuji. We go next. Tushar bhai, can you say something, or is it you're just going to be in listening mode, Tushar bhai? Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Satish bhai, do you want to add something on this?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, thank you, Satish bhai. I can see Vineet has just joined in. Namaskar, Vineet ji. Namaskar. Can you hear us?
Namaskar. Absolutely, I can hear you. Today is my first day.
Okay. Just going to. Okay. So Sunil Prabhuji, if you want to take verse 21 now.
Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hanti kam.
Okay. Gitesh bhai, do you want to do the translation?
Yeah. Parth, how can one who knows the soul to be imperishable, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
So as we were discussing in the last sort of shloka, it continues the same thing. I'll go the Hindi translation. Hey Parth, जो पुरुष इस आत्मा को अविनाशी, नित्य और अव्यय स्वरूप जानता है, वह कैसे किसको मारेगा और वो कैसे किसी को मरवाएगा? आत्मा, then the commentary goes as, आत्मा की वर्णात्मक परिभाषा नहीं दी जा सकती, परंतु उसका संकेत नित्य, अविनाशी आदि शब्दों के द्वारा किया जा सकता है. यहाँ श्लोक में प्रश्नात्मक वाक्य के द्वारा पूर्व श्लोकों में प्रतिपादित सिद्धांत की पुष्टि करते हैं कि जो पुरुष अविनाशी आत्मा को जानते हैं वह कभी जीवन की वास्तविकताओं का सामना करने में शोकाकुल नहीं होते। आत्मा के अव्यय, अविनाशी, अजन्मा और शाश्वत स्वरूप को जान लेने पर कौन पुरुष स्वयं को कर्तव्य का आरोप कौन पुरुष स्वयं पर कर्तव्य का आरोप लेगा। भगवान कहते हैं कि ऐसा पुरुष ना तो किसी को मारता है, ना किसी को मरने का कारण बनता है। यहाँ ध्यान देने की बात है कि इस वाक्य का संबंध स्वयं भगवान तथा अर्जुन दोनों से ही है। यदि अर्जुन इस तथ्य को समझ लेता है तो स्वयं को अजन्मा आत्मा को हत्यारा मानने का कोई प्रश्न नहीं रह जाता। किस प्रकार आत्मा विनाशी है अगले श्लोक में दृष्टांत से स्पष्ट करते हैं। सो it's actually very interesting, and I'll also take like sort of a reference, actually a wrong reference, I must say. There is a movie, it's called as Aks. I think it was Amitabh Bachchan and Manoj Bajpayee. So in that movie, and this exactly reminds me, this the explanation of the shloka reminds me that. So Manoj Bajpayee was playing a wrong character, if I'm right, and then he was like a psychopath killer type of thing. So he used to kill people, and then he used to say this once he used to kill people. He said, "Na koi marta hai, na koi marta hai." Right? ऐसा मैं नहीं कहता, गीता में लिखा है. So he was actually referring to this shloka there, which of course was interpreted in the wrong way, interestingly. The point is, he was not taking the blame upon him. If you look a little deeper, that's exactly what the shloka says. That the shloka is trying to point upon that for Arjuna, right, there is no sort of obligation in a way. That if he is killing anyone, because the whole depression is going through, whole downfall he had in the chapter 1, all of it, and just for you, Vinit ji, just because you joined in. So we are in chapter 2. So chapter 2, Sankhya again. Sankhya means the knowledge of the tattva, the content knowledge. It's the core subject actually. In chapter 1, it's all about Arjun Vishad Yoga. Now, just to emphasize, Gita is the only scripture I actually have written so far which talks about illness as a yoga. Arjun Vishad Yoga. Arjun, Vishad means depression, and yoga means actually is the yoga, which is a science to learn something. And in short, what it says is in chapter 1, it's all about how Arjun felt into the depression because, he asked Lord Krishna to take the Ratha in the middle. He saw his own, kind, he saw his own cousins, his in-laws, his uncles and teachers and everyone. And he goes, how can I fight them? The moment he saw all that, he actually had this downfall in the sort of mental state, and he said, I can't fight. That's what chapter 1 is all about. But the reason why it's called as Arjun Vishad Yoga means is someone have to go there into the darkest and the deepest path. Like depression is not a very good thing to have. He was through it, but the reason why it's called as yoga is you have to be in a state to actually attain that knowledge. You won't feel the need of something unless and until you go there. And exactly that's what the shloka is sort of trying to point out, that Arjun, he was considering himself that, okay, I'm going to kill my own types, my own cousins, my own, but that's not the reality. And this is where his moha is clinging upon on his own family, that I'm going to kill my own type. But what Bhagavan, Lord Krishna is saying that, well, this is where you're going wrong. That's first of all, you're not your image, that's your body. The other person out there is actually is a soul, and even you are a soul. So this is not a soul's responsibility to kill someone or the soul's responsibility to get killed and eventually do the right deed. So this is where the problem was, that anyone, not only Arjuna, even we get into the same situation all the time. We have to decide between right and wrong, and we always get trapped by our own moha, our own attachments to the things. Like I have to make a right decision for my son or a daughter, or or a relative, but at times my attachment supersede that decision, and that's what we are trying to understand here that there's no one who's going to kill anyone. There's no one's going to get killed. That's just policy statement, and Arjun should move away from it in short. So that's the explanation. Let's go around the clock. Gitesh, why do you want to add on something?
No, I think it is just the continuation of the last shloka, which what they said. So I
Yes.
think it's self-explanatory.
Yes. Sunil ji, do you want to add something, Prabhuji?
No, Prabhu, this one is clear. Thank you.
Straightforward. Thank you. Satish ji, do you want to add something?
No, Nirbhay, fine.
Thank you. Vinny ji, do you have any insights to it? Do you want to say something?
I am absorbing right now. Thank you for the detailed explanation, but I will start participating.
No problem.
Fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Thank you.
Tushar bhai, I understand you are just outside, so I will probably not ask you. Okay, no problem. Let's continue. So let's go to verse 22. Okay, Sunil Prabhuji.
Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinati naro aparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnanya niyani sanyati navani dehi.
So this is, before we go to the this is actually one of the key for Gita. And I personally like to just read this one more time. Vansansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grahani naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani nanyani sanyati navani dehi. We'll discuss about it. It's very, very important and very important knowledge which will come through from Lord Krishna. Gitesh bhai, you want to do the English one?
Yep, sure. As a Pasha sets worn out garments and wear new ones, likewise, at the time of death, the soul casts off its worn out body and enters a new one.
Gitesh bhai, and thank you, Sunilji. So again, the picture here and the key that जैसे मनुष्य जीर्ण वस्त्रों को त्याग कर दूसरे नए वस्त्रों को धारण करता है, वैसे ही देही जीवात्मा पुराने शरीर को त्याग कर दूसरे नए शरीरों को प्राप्त होती है. And I think, we have been keep on hearing this. This particular shloka is probably explained, if not exactly recited, when even I have seen in my family when someone dies, right? So just to console people, right? This is the most common saying we do say all the time, that okay, jaane wala chala gaya. And plus is like, the body is just there. It's the outer covering of the soul. Soul doesn't die. You just change the clothes. And it's actually explained in a very simple way. Let's go through the explanation for it. गीता के प्राय उद्धृत किए जाने वाले अनेक प्रसिद्ध श्लोकों में यह एक श्लोक है जिसमें एक अत्यंत व्यवहारिक दृष्टांत के द्वारा यह स्पष्ट किया गया है कि किस प्रकार जीवात्मा एक देह को छोड़कर अन्य देह के साथ तादात्म्य करके नई परिस्थितियों के नए अनुभव प्राप्त करता है. व्यास जी के द्वारा प्रयुक्त यह दृष्टांत अत्यंत सुपरिचित है. जैसे मनुष्य व्यवहारिक जीवन में भिन्न भिन्न अवसरों पर समयोजित वस्तुओं को धारण करता है, वैसे ही जीवात्मा एक देह को त्याग कर अनेक प्रकार के अनुभव करने के लिए किसी अन्य देह का धारण करती है. कोई भी व्यक्ति रात्रि परिधान यानी नाइट गाउन पहने अपने कार्यालय नहीं जाता और ना ही कार्यालय के वस्त्र पहनकर टेनिस खेलता है. वह अवसर और कार्य के अनुकूल वस्त्र पहनता है. यही बात मृत्यु के विषय में भी कही गई है. यह दृष्टांत इतना सरल और बुद्धिग्राह्य है कि इसके द्वारा न केवल अर्जुन वरन दीर्घ कालावधि के पश्चात भी गीता का कोई भी अज्ञेता या श्रोता देह त्याग के विषय को स्पष्ट रूप में समझ सकता है. अनुपयोगी वस्त्रों को बदलना किसी के लिए पीड़ा की बात नहीं होती, और विशेषकर जब पुराने वस्त्र त्याग कर नए वस्त्र धारण करने हो. तब तो कष्ट का कोई कारण ही नहीं रह जाता। इसी प्रकार जब जीव यह पाता है कि उसका वर्तमान शरीर उसके लिए अब कोई प्रयोजन नहीं रखता, तब वह उस जीर्ण शरीर को त्याग देता है। शरीर के इस जीर्णत्व का निश्चय इसको धारण करने वाले ही कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि जीर्णत्व का संबंध ना धारणकर्ता की आयु से है और ना ही उसकी शारीरिक अवस्था से है। जीर्ण शब्द के तात्पर्य को ना समझकर अनेक आलोचक इस श्लोक का विरोध करते हैं। उनकी प्रमुख युक्ति यह है कि जगत में अनेक बालक और युवक मरते देखे जाते हैं जिनका शरीर जीर्ण नहीं था। शारीरिक दृष्टि से कथन सही होने पर भी जीव को विकास की दृष्टि से देखें तो यह जीव के लिए वह शरीर अनुपयोगी हुआ तो उस शरीर को जीर्ण माना जाएगा। कोई धनी व्यक्ति प्रतिवर्ष अपना भवन या वाहन बदलता है और हर बार उसे कोई ना कोई क्रय करने के लिए मिल ही जाता है। उस धनी व्यक्ति की दृष्टि से वह भवन या वाहन पुराना या अनुपयोगी हो चुका है, परंतु ग्राहक की दृष्टि से वही नए घर के समान उपयोगी है। इसी प्रकार शरीर जीर्ण हुआ या नहीं, इसका निश्चय उसको धारण करने वाला जीव ही कर सकता है। यह श्लोक पुनर्जन्म के सिद्धांत को दृढ़ करता है, जिसकी विवेचना हम 12वें श्लोक में पहले ही कर चुके हैं। इस दृष्टांत के कारण अर्जुन को यह बात निश्चय ही समझ में आ गई होगी कि मृत्यु केवल उन्हीं को भयभीत करती है जिनको उसका ज्ञान नहीं होता, परंतु मृत्यु के रहस्य और संकेतार्थक को समझने वाले व्यक्ति को कोई पीड़ा और शोक नहीं होता। जैसे वस्त्र बदलने पर शरीर को कोई कष्ट नहीं होता और ना ही एक वस्त्र के त्याग के बाद हम सदैव निवृत्त अवस्था में रहते हैं, इसी प्रकार विकास की दृष्टि से जीव का भी देह त्याग होता है और वह नए अनुभवों की प्राप्ति के लिए उपयुक्त नवीन देही को धारण करता है। उसमें कोई कष्ट नहीं है। यह विकास और परिवर्तन जीव के लिए है, ना कि चैतन्य स्वरूप आत्मा के लिए। आत्मा सदैव परिपूर्ण है, उसको विकास की आवश्यकता नहीं है। आत्मा अविकारी अपरिवर्तनशील क्यों है, ये भगवान अगले श्लोक में बताते हैं। So a few key concepts. One is the soul, which decides actually that the body is gone old and it's time to change, as it's sort of explained in this picture. And it's the most common shloka, as they said, which is used to relieve the pain. So when someone, let's say, dies somewhere in a family, then the reality is told to him or her that it's just the body has worn off, the soul is imperishable. And as I know of, I'm sure there might be another religions, but apart from the Hindu religion, the other religions does not talk about the reincarnation. Like if I talk about the Islamic religion, they have this philosophy that once you die, then you go to the heaven, and you get all the things, pleasures and everything up there. The philosophy of the Hinduism is in reincarnation, and primarily, as Gita is saying, and what the spirituality talks about is, you will keep on taking birth unless and until, as in last shloka we discussed that, unless and until you clear off your balance. And Gitesh Bhai mentioned a very important word is called as prarabdha. Prarabdha means actually the result of your own deeds. So whatever you do, good or bad, it's accumulated in your account. Now, it is said that you have to, you can't nullify prarabdha. Well, you can nullify actually by doing good deeds. But let's say if you have done wrong deeds, the prarabdha is in your account and you have to balance it out. And just only to do balance, you actually have to take the rebirth again and again and again. And that's how the whole cycle, like, the human life, you don't just get so easily, as said in Gita. You have to take hundreds of different, like, from insect to a bird to animal to XYZ. It takes different species you have to go through to actually take the human life. And as per the Hinduism, the purpose of the human life is to attain knowledge, free ourselves from the grief, and actually, take moksha, attain moksha, and do not come back into the vicious cycle of life and death, because that is painful. It's the cycle that is painful, and the body goes through those various cycles, which are, so the reality, as told in this shloka, is something else. And from what we are trying to do in this exercise as well, right? I'm sure most of us are there, like working professionals, and in their 40s or 50s and stuff. And for us, the key is to understand this knowledge and try to apply in our real life, which means gain the knowledge and try to detach ourselves, try to understand what the ground reality is, and try not to get too much attached, and at least try to determine a purpose of our life, in short, because these sort of things gives you a sense of who you are, where you belong to. It gives you grounding, and also give you a vision to do the right thing. At least, after these sessions, let's say, if you can think of, okay, whatever I do, if I do good deeds and bad deeds, I mean, it's like accumulated. And you might have seen, like, there are kids born with conditions, young kids born with conditions. Someone have a hole in the heart, someone is defaced, someone, and you can say, like, what they have done to actually gain this. And you might have some people who are very good, your own friends and people, like, they're very good people, and everything is so bad goes through their life. They go through a lot, and you was like, he's such a nice guy, why he have to go through all that? All his prarabdha. You don't know what he has done in his previous life, and he came back in this life again to actually, dukho ko bhogne ke liye. In short, life actually is full of that. You cannot escape the pain. And in short, like, one of the purpose to add upon the Gita reading is to realize and understand the pain of your own life, and actually try to have some relief from it, because the knowledge is something that gives you that relief. So very, very important shloka. Gitesh, you want to add something on?
Yeah, I think what I see from this shloka is like they're trying to say, like, everybody has got a fear of death, isn't it? Like, everybody is like, whenever we talk about death, oh no, it's like horrible, or I just want to live forever. That's what everybody thinks. But this actually shloka is trying to say life, it's lessening that fear. Basically, it's saying, like, okay, don't fear death. that that death will come, and then your soul will go to the next body. So just think it like, like the example they have given as like a garment. One, the old garment worn out, you throw it and then you wear new, so you feel happiness. So that's the message they are giving. So if you just think like, okay, you die and then you're gonna get a birth again, so that is like a happy thing. Don't just fear that. So I think that is what they are trying to explain here, to lessen that fear, basically.
No, very, very, very nicely explained. Actually, you're right. Actually, there, yeah, and it's very practical example they've given. So when you go to the new thing, right, when the Jivatma decides, it's the matter of Jivatma to decide, it's time for me to leave. And that's, as you said, is a right thing and a happy thing that
And then
you going to
I think
attain.
that's why some in some caste or religion, when people die, people celebrate, like, okay, he's like gone, but he's gonna you know
In a
get
better place or
new
better
body
location.
or better things gonna come to his soul or next incarnation. So
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Gitesh bhai. Sunil, do you want to add on something?
Haribol, yes, it's just a change of the body,
Mhm.
and I have some problem uh, with this one, because there's always some lamenting. Those who are left uh, here, uh, they lament, because it's a natural thing, I think, and I I don't know how to overcome this feeling. Sometimes it's very, very difficult.
Mhm.
Mhm. Right. So when you say those who are left, as in those people who are left, like the bodies, or
Died basically, or
Though the family members.
yeah.
behind them, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And see, no, you're right, actually. So what happens is, see, it's, I'll give you an example. You see news, right? You hear that somewhere in Sudan there was like a flood or something, 1,000 people died. You hear the news, but you don't feel the pain. You don't get any, yeah, you feel a little sorry about, oh, okay, fine. But just imagine you hear similar type of news in your own country, and just to make it worse, like maybe in your hometown, and you heard like someone you knew passed away, right? Then you feel much more to it,
Pain.
and you
Yeah.
feel more pain because it's the attachment. So Sunil Prabhuji, what you said is you're right, that um, person dies, his souls go away and they take a new birth, or hopefully like better place, or even take moksha and don't even take the birth. And the people who are left behind, definitely it's a matter of sorrow for them. The reason being is of their own attachment. They are attached to the person and their deeds and their responsibility, whatever the person was playing a role in that family or in that circle or in the society. It is definitely painful. Now, even to them, and actually, this shloka, I know from my personal experiences, has been used to console them. As Gitesh Bhai was giving an example, that in some cultures, it's tactically placed that, oh, okay, don't worry, he have died, but he have gone to a better place. Just imagine, like, how do we tell to the kids as well? You know, we say to the kids, like, okay, the grandfather has passed away, but he's now a star up there, and
Yeah.
he's going to be lightening the world and everything. These are simple, consoling words. But you're right. The pain is there. See, the pain is there, and pain will be there in this life. In short, you can't get away with it. But
But you can get the solace in that he is gone into a better body, or he's gonna enjoy, some new thing basically.
exactly. So, bit of a knowledge and explanation is what can console people. But yes,
Yeah,
um, as
this
Sunil was
will
saying,
definitely help now,
yeah,
because everybody gonna go through that pain when
yeah,
somebody nearby or relative dies. But this sloka is saying like what exactly happened when they die, so it's the for the good. Something good gonna happen to him, so that is where you can get the solace. If you know this is what gonna happen, if you don't know, then you forever gonna have that pain, like, oh, I'm missing him, he died.
good.
That's it. Sorry, Nimit bhai, yeah,
No, no,
continue.
no. It's great. It's great. Thank you. Thank you. Satish, you want to add something? Are you good?
Nimiba, yeah, I got some. I think I understand what exactly it's trying to say, like, but got some doubt here.
Sure.
But
Mhm.
we said, like, the life has to go through the 6 stages, right? Like, as you show in the picture.
Mhm.
Why some people die in certain age, like, some before getting old, some people die. What will be the reason for that? Why they are not going through the life cycle of the 6 stages? Like, why? What is the reason?
Okay. So, very good
Sorry,
point,
maybe it's
actually.
not relevant, but I'm
No,
just.
no.
Well, I mean, we can relate it. See,
Hmm.
what I understand from the shloka is, so the natural process is these 6 stages,
Yeah.
right? So if you are like, and by the way, that this is the term as well. If you, when you get the death certificate, and right, cause of death, natural death. Yeah. So natural death is something which is, as you said, right, 6 stages, and then it, as is shown in the picture, right, this is meant to happen, and this is the nature, by the way. Now, the deaths which I think you're referring to is maybe, unnatural deaths. And again, we can also relate that back to prarabdha again,
Mhm.
that um, you know there are accidents, there are things happens. Like, one of the worst one, just to add upon this, is someone is going to Tirth Yatra. It happens a lot in India, right?
Yeah,
There, a lot of people went to Tirth Yatra in Kailash. They went to the the glacier moved upon, and then people dies, and that too, like when they went to in a pilgrimage place. So you can question, right? In the name of the god, for example, they went to actually meet the god there, and what happened to them? They just died in a stampede, or they just died with a natural calamity. Now, yes, from the human eyes, this is what is visible, but we don't know what is the background, what is there in Prarabdha, that maybe that painful death was inevitable for them purely
Okay.
because of their Prarabdha. So, and that's, you ask a very valid point here, actually, because this is the whole reason why, why we need religion for, if you look at it. We need religion for to have this understanding, the boss. You have, especially the Hindu religion goes, boss, you have a life, do the right things, do the right deeds. You're going to keep on doing the bad deeds, and they'll accumulate in your account, and you can't get away from it, in short, in a very simplistic words, right? So the point you're raising is valid, because you see painful deaths, you see, people die in crashes. Who knows what was there in their account to suffer this pain from? Not in Gita, but I think I've read somewhere, like, or maybe I've seen a picture actually somewhere, that people in the past life who do this, in the new life they become this, like, and then they have to face that. Like, it was examples about, like, the ladies who were in past life doing this, in the new life they become prostitutes, and they have to face that trouble and the pain and everything. So in short, you can relate the pain in your life. That's what I'm trying to calculate here.
Okay.
The type of the pain that is given to you is subject to what is in your prarabdha, what you've been coming through in your previous life. And then most of us actually does not even understand this. And the ground reality is this, and this is what we'll learn through in Gita, that this all is because of our own deeds, and at least in this life you have a chance to overcome that, nullify that account, so at least that doesn't accumulate. And then, as said, at the end of the day, we want to reduce pain in our life, and I'm personally very confident that the Gita is a tool that at least helps you in reducing the pain. But a very, very fair point you raised about that. um, um, Even though there are no explanations of a lot of things, but if you think from a perspective, you think a death of someone, immature death, or a natural death of someone from a Gita perspective, or from a spiritual perspective, then there may be some sense, if not 100%, but yes. And there is no justification. There is a lot of things in life, and I keep on seeing that, a lot of young people, they die and in the war, and there's no justification. Look at Jews, right? So many Jews have been just killed like that. There's no justification to it. There's no even explanation to it, but it is what it is. So
Yeah,
fair point.
that's fine. Thank you.
Vinny, did you want to add anything on it?
Just a question. I mean, for example, you said about prarabdh, and I think there is also a mention that I heard that जीर्णावस्था जब होती है शरीर की, तो आत्मा शरीर त्याग के दूसरे शरीर की ओर प्राप्ति करते हैं. सो जब मोक्ष मिल रहा है किसी को, तो उस समय आत्मा का क्या होता है?
Right. So, as I said, like, probably the start of the shloka, that the purpose of the spirituality, and I'm pretty sure in further shlokas you will have the answer to it, much more deeper answer to it. But as of I know of, ऐसे आत्मा का परमात्मा से मिलन means, as you said, that when you don't come into this vicious cycle, means then Atma goes into the heaven and meets the Paramatma, stays there, does not come back and attain the human life. Because human life is only attained, the reincarnation only happens when you have to nullify your account. But when you have nullified, when you have done your good deeds and everything, then you go attain moksha, which means the Atma actually leave the, let's say, this
In heaven,
world.
basically, isn't it? With God.
Exactly. And go to and I think if you look at it, right, this is what I mean. I think Islam culture is more glorified in these ways, right? कि मरने के बाद आपको जन्नत नसीब होगी, वहां हूरें होंगी, ये सब होगा, वो सब होगा. Who, what they refer to is आप कौन हो, मतलब आप किसको जन्नत नसीब, वो actually वो आत्मा की बात करते हैं कि that actually even looking at various scriptures, this is the deal, like that real self, the soul thing is imperishable. You die, or the body dies, that soul actually go back to heaven, let's say, or hell, depending on what you have done. So to your question, Vinayji, my understanding is when you nullify your account and you don't need to, or Atma does not need to come back to this vicious cycle, then it goes back into the account, the Lord's account, into the heaven or with the Lord, and just be there. Do not come back. And that's what we understand the purpose of moksha is, that break this cycle. And the only way to break this cycle is by the attainment of the knowledge, do the right deeds, so that the prarabdha does not get accumulated in your life, and you break this vicious circle of life. Because you actually, as my dad always used to say, again I'll repeat this, that we are born because of the ignorance.
Right.
Once you have the knowledge, once you attain the knowledge, ignorance goes off, and then you don't need to come back to this life and actually be so that's, I think, is the purpose of spirituality, Gita in short, which is actually well said in various different ways and different scriptures within Hinduism, if you look at it. But Gita goes quite into the core, as in. So I think very valid point you raised. Gitesh bhai, you want to add on something? Sorry.
Sorry?
Do you want to add on something? Sorry.
No, that's fine. I think that is what I was just saying. Like the question was where the soul goes. So soul goes to heaven, and it stays with the God. So basically, you're not gonna have pain anymore, which is what moksha is basically.
In short.
Sure.
One thing
No, thank you.
to add upon Vinitji, so there are 5 which we I think have read, and this will come again. There are 5 purusharth which are given to a person by Hindu Dharma. And these purusharth means something what you should do in Hindu, as a Hindu person, let's say. And these 5 purusharth means the 5 steps or 5 stages is dharma, arth, kam, moksha. I'm sorry, they're not 4, they're not 5, they're 4. Dharma, arth, kam, and moksha. So by the Hindu scriptures, we are guided, or in fact sort of commanded, to do these 4 things. And these are the 4 things which we attain throughout life. Dharma, you have to have attainment of a religion. As a purusharth, you have to attain what dharma is, and you understand what dharma is. Of course, most of us are given dharma by the birth, but there are people who actually choose the dharma by their own deeds. You see people in ISKCON, they call as Vaishnav, right? They could be from anywhere in the world, but they attain dharma by knowledge. And I'm sure Sunilji have more experience around that. So they attain knowledge and they accept that religion. So you can, attain that. So dharma. Then arth is your materialistic being, like you have to earn the money, in short. So that is one of the deeds which a man should do. So dharma, arth means, you have to earn something, you have to learn, and you have to earn the money and have a livelihood. Kama is your family things. You have to get married. You have to have, there are, well-defined pleasures in Hinduism. I'm talking purely about Hinduism, that it's all well-defined, that you have to have those. God has given those pleasures to you. You can't see them as wrong. And that's, at times people go a bit wrong about it. People see pleasures as, as in a wrong way. These pleasures, as long as they're driven for a purpose, they are right. And they are given to you. They're given to you by God to actually reproduce, to extend your family, to and this is another Purushart you have to do, the karma part. So extend your family, and extend your own clan and everything. And it's given to you for a reason. And then the final step is the moksha. The attainment of the moksha has been considered as the highest. There are sopans, sopanas, and there are 4 steps, various stages you can go through. So moksha is considered as the ultimate aim of spirituality, and to attain moksha is considered as a very high deed. And by doing all this, even reading Gita and following it up and doing the right things, ultimately what we're trying to do is trying to attain moksha, which is the highest deed for the soul and the human being. I hope
Very, very helpful. Thank you.
right. Thank you, Vinodji. So I think we are we are for good for today. We'll stop here, and I'm just going to